All right, everybody, welcome to this new episode of Lightshare. I'm here with Dom today. Andrea was kind of busy and couldn't join us today, but we're going to be talking about industry events, from the art community and our experience attending those events. So, yeah, I have no idea what to start with, like.
Yeah,
I haven't been to many, to be honest, but
yeah,
when
I've only been to two. So
two. Okay, so
yeah,
let's go with those two.
okay. Well, the first one was like a trip to Monster Palooza. I don't know if you've heard of that event.
No.
But it's like an event based around creature design and like a lot of 80s sci-fi or not 80s horror. So like Creature from the Black Lagoon and like Exorcist and Werewolf in London. So like all those really nostalgic horror creatures. It wasn't really an event that I wanted to go to because my teacher made us go to it. So it was like a $30 admission. And I don't know. It was cool though. I saw like Dominic Queck. I don't know if you know that artist.
No, it doesn't ring a bell right now.
Okay.
But I mean,
there was a lot of like
sounds cool, man. Like a whole event focused on that.
Yeah. Just like monsters and
so it was a
kinds of creatures.
Good experience.
It was pretty good. I saw like some stuff from Avengers and like Tron. They had like a full-on Tron helmet that was on display, like I think from the actual movie, like a prop. And there's like different booths like lined up. I didn't see anyone in particular that I was like fanboying over, I guess, but yeah, I think Dominic Queck was like one of the only ones that I was like, damn. His sculptures are so cool. How he like makes like models and models with them. I think Simon Lee was there, pretty sure, but I didn't get a chance to see him because he was probably like in the back somewhere. But he's probably just like sculpting away at his creatures.
No, I thought it was like overlapping with some other talks that you had to attend or something. Because that's what happened to me, and pretty much everybody can relate to this,
Yeah.
Like, oh, I want to see this guy. Oh, damn, but that's this other guy as well. And they're at the same time, and you can't split.
Yeah. I didn't really see any of my heroes over there, but yeah, Lightbox is like the one that we all kind of relate to. So I guess like, I don't know, do you want to talk about Lightbox or?
Yeah. So when was this first event that you mentioned? So we can have like a reference in the timeline before we talk about Lightbox.
Okay. This was like 2018, I believe, in the fall. So around
so a year before
October. Yeah. So like
almost like Halloween. A year before. Yeah.
Yeah. That was like the time where they were gonna showcase a lot of horror stuff, obviously in that month.
Nice. But, you know where I was by that time? I was in the Netherlands because there was
it's like
the Playgrounds event.
Oh, yeah. Right.
It's a city called Eindhoven, and I've never been there, and it was a really cool experience. But I got like I got a cheap plane ticket, like a flight ticket, and I don't think I'm gonna do that again because I'm like, it's so cheap, man. I think it's worth it to spend like a little more and be more like comfortable, I would say, because there were like a lot of hours, in between. I had to stay in Barcelona, I think. There was a stop, and I spent like 7 hours there, I think. I sketched, I worked out, I did everything I could. I visited the entire airport, and and then the next day, of course, you get there, and I had a bunch of issues with the Airbnb apartment. My friend Kevin, who is the guy who I split all this with the apartment and everything, was on his way as well, but he he was arriving like later that day, so I had to wait for him. The dude from the apartment didn't reply to any of my messages. Actually, the whole contact was through my friend Kevin, who, by the way, had no internet connection in between, during the flight and everything. So it was quite complicated. But from that first day, which was absolutely exhausting, it was amazing, dude. That event was so good. Like, just to see your art heroes again over there, to attend those talks where they talk about how they created these. Like, for example, there was one from Guerrilla Games about how they made those awesome dinosaurs from Horizon Zero Dawn.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And all that vibe of, it's forbidden to take pictures. You can't record anything.
Really?
Like, whoa, that's so cool, man.
Was it like a concept art event or just like a video game event where they for like video game developers?
No, it's a concept art event. Yeah, it's not necessarily limited to video games only, but
see,
pretty much all I remember was from video games. Yeah. But there were talks from people from Pixar, as far as I can remember. And the whole event is really professional, really cool. And yeah, that's where I was at the same time as you were visiting the other event with the creatures and everything. So a year later, we met in LA at Livebox.
Yeah, that was a trip.
How did that happen for you?
Well, actually, I'm curious to see how it all began, the whole journey from the beginning for you started.
Okay.
I was wondering how getting on the plane from Spain to the airports and things like that.
Oh,
how
all
was
right.
that all
So, I think I remember they first announced the event because that was the first edition, right? And they first announced it around March, I think. And
yeah, I think so.
Dude, the first day I saw that, I'm like, I'm in. I have to go there. So yeah, I was there when they released the tickets, so they became available to be purchased. I was there first. I tried my best. I had some issues. I contacted the staff, and then I got my ticket. Everything was fine. And then I only had to wait. So I prepared for the event as I was kind of getting some more designs into my new portfolio. Because from that point on, this whole thing started to feel like a countdown for me, Like, only 2 months left. We have to finish this, So every week would become like an assignment. Props to my friend Yogi Solestama. He's been on the podcast from with Sid, by the way, as well. He was the first one, I think.
That.
Yeah. So he was helping me figure out the entire portfolio and how to arrange the stuff around, and he was almost like coaching at a point, like, okay, for the next week, I would recommend you to have this, and that, I would try to follow that. And yeah, man, I wish I would have done more, but the deadline was almost there, and I'm like, okay, I already have a lot of stuff, I'm just gonna go with this, and that's it. And by the way, this was the first time that I was showing this on my own iPad, because I had to borrow one the year before. And it's a whole different experience. You act in a different way when something is yours, like, it's yours and you're more confident with it. And yeah, because I'm only mentioning this because in all the previous events, I was only showing up with like a printed portfolio, right? Like on paper.
Oh,
and
just
that's a whole different thing.
Or something?
Yeah, it's like a exactly. Well, a book like it. Yeah, it's a full A4 size, like a.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And that's a whole different setup per se. You have to print them out. You have to assemble them together. You have to really decide which ones you want to print, but in an iPad it's just, you know, copying images as you wish. And yeah, man, the deadline was coming. I was so excited, man. I didn't know what to expect. I was like only thinking about the event, like the people I'm gonna meet there.
Was this your first time like going to Pasadena or like LA?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Nice.
That made it so special, dude.
That was cool.
It was my first time in LA, and
That's awesome.
LA was like a super place for me, you know, in my mind. It's like the bed of all this industry. Yes, all the art community. Like everybody seems to live there, you know. So I'm like, I'm finally gonna get there to visit them, and this event did it for me, you know. And by the way, Pasadena was also like a really nice spot.
Yeah, it's really beautiful there.
Mm-hmm.
I've only been a couple parts, but yeah, it's nice.
Like I remember the whole track from the airport until, you know, to Pasadena. And I was like talking to the driver, like, wow, dude, LA is huge, man. Like how many districts or how many, you know, how many neighborhoods are here? You know, every neighborhood feels like an entire city, right?
It does.
And they were explaining me like, oh, there's a whole bunch of different levels of, you know.
Now there's like different counties. That's what we call it here.
Counties.
Yeah. So a county is like sort of a district within the city. Like there's different parts.
Okay. I thought counties were like different parts of a state. You know, like California is a state, and then it has different counties, right? But I didn't know that was also a part inside of a city, like LA, for instance.
Yeah. So it's like state, and then you have the cities in the state, and then you have the counties in the city, and then you have the towns in the county.
Kind of like fractal here.
Yeah. It's like layers. So, but yeah, continue.
Yeah. Then I got there, and I had this experience of being by myself in LA, and it was so cool, man. Like I've only been there in games, you know. You've only seen that in pictures, movies, but it was a totally different experience to be there in person. It was so cool. And then the event, of course, you get to the event, you meet up with some other people. Hey, I know you from another event, right? Yeah, dude, how are you doing? And you stay in line, you slowly start to get in, and then when they opened, I was like overwhelmed with like, where do I go now? Where do I go first? You know, because
those lines were insane.
Yeah.
Just had to point that out. They like wrapped around the whole complex.
Yeah, you mean for what's that called? Like the registration or the signing up thing to get the badge?
Like that, and yeah, just like before they open the doors and stuff. It's just like people waiting in the hot sun trying to get into those conferences.
Right.
I remember.
I almost forgot about it. Damn right. Yeah. It was pretty hot outside. Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you get inside, it's like, what do I do now? You know, where do I go? Where do I go next? Like, what's the priorities? Like because you feel like you only have a certain amount of time. You know, like you're afraid for the time to run out, for them to close everything, because you know time flies when you're at these places. So
you were there for 3 days, right?
Was it?
Or you were there 3 days?
Oh yeah, I've been there for the entire thing, but I don't remember exactly how long it lasted. I think it was 3 days, right? It was only for the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Yeah. So,
I was there on Saturday.
Okay, so well, I had no plan, to be honest. I was looking at the schedule, and I'm like, this talk as well. Oh, damn, this guy's talking here. Oh man, I got to see it. And then you realize it overlaps with like 10 other things you want to see at the same time. So that's the problem I was talking about earlier. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think I saw you right before or right after I met Shadi Safadi, just casually walking around, and he handed me a card like, "Hey, nice to meet you. Yeah, sure. Look, you can contact me here." And I was like, "That was Shadi Safadi, dude. That was Shadi Safadi."
Just like,
is this feeling of, I'm here with them right now. Oh my god, this is real. You feel like this is like
so
a dream
real.
or something.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Also, I heard it was the biggest art event ever. Like, I've heard, I'm not
It was,
aware of the exact amount of people who attended, but I heard something around a few thousands. A few thousands. That's a lot more than
think
any other
it's-
event I've been to.
It's the biggest art event that hosts like almost every artist there.
Pretty
So,
much. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's
Because
really
the ones I've been to prior to that were like a few hundreds only, Like, for instance, the one in Zagreb in Croatia, IFCC. I've been there in 2017, and I think it was around 450 people or something like that. And that already sounded like quite a lot. Like 400
Yeah.
people? Oh my god. But then Lightbox comes in with like a few thousands.
It's
I mean,
because
the place was huge.
Yeah, it was hosted by Bobby Chu. That's why.
Yeah.
That's why it's like all these artists coming in. Because, yeah.
He was so busy, man. He was still trying to be nice and everything, despite how busy he was. How in a hurry he was. He was rushing everywhere. I'm like, Bobby Chu, and he's like, yeah, nice to meet you. See you around.
I gotta run.
Yeah, and I'm like, oh man. This is so cool. Everybody was like doing demos. They had another building for other talks and stuff like that, which, by the way, got me pretty confused in the beginning. I didn't even know that was a thing. That other building, the building number 2, let's call it building number 2.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
I didn't know that was a thing until the second day, for instance. and then I realized, and fortunately I don't think I missed any talk that I wanted to attend, but dude, that was insane. I don't know, what was your experience like?
Yeah, so I was like pretty much the same as you. I saw the event and I was like super hyped for it because the convention center is only like an hour away from me. So I was like, yeah, I'm down. If it's here in California, like obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So I went with my two friends. She drove us up there, and
Plus, sorry for
thankfully-
interrupting you, but
Yeah.
I wanted to mention the price, because the price was insanely cheap.
oh yeah, it was like
Insane.
$50, right?
Dude,
Or
I think
$40.
it cost me like 150, I think, for the 3 days, right?
Oh yeah,
So that's
so cheap.
That's a freaking joke compared to
Yeah.
the ones here in Europe, And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm down, man. Like,
How much are the ones in Europe?
so I've heard. I mean, the ones I've been to, the one in the Netherlands was the cheapest one from all of them. It was like only 75, and it was only 2 days. The thing is that the rest of them are like a week long, for instance, like THU. THU was the most expensive one that I've ever heard. Around 600, 700. It seems like every year was more expensive. And to a point, I think I can understand why, because it's like a highly, highly professional, serious event, right? I'm only speaking from what I've heard from other people. I've never been there, but that's what it seems like. And then the one in Croatia, for instance, that one was like around 300 or $400. So yeah, that was like the standard for me, at least, because it was my first event. I'm like, okay, 400. and you end up like super motivated and everything. You don't even think about how much it cost,
Because you
But
also have food and like all the other stuff.
yeah, good thing about food over there was pretty cheap. I remember for less than $1, you had like a giant slice of pizza.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, really nice.
Yeah, the
And
food's expensive here. I don't know if you got food at Lightbox,
it was more
but
comfortable for me to stay inside of the building and get the food from there. So
yeah,
yeah, I kind of took advantage of the time I had outside of the event when it was over to go explore a little bit of the surroundings, and yeah.
it's pretty cool.
So sorry I
But
interrupted you. I really needed to mention the price thing because it's something that I found
yeah,
so crazy. $150.
it's really affordable. Like I was even surprised too. But
Hmm.
yeah, I got my ticket for Saturday. I was like, I'm down for this. Yeah, so I went up with two of my friends, and we got there around like I think like 10 o'clock. It wasn't like too crowded, but like the lines were starting to pile up. And I think during that time, I was walking down the lines, and I like saw a couple of people that I knew personally as friends, and like just other artists who followed me too.
Hmm.
But I didn't really say hi to them at first because like I was trying to get to the events also.
Yeah.
Yeah, I met up with a lot of people from LCAD. I think like a couple of my friends were at the PlayStation event that was going on like in the morning, and I think that was like I don't know if it was like God of War they were showcasing or something like that, but there was like an artist for maybe like Naughty Dog or something that was over there, and I didn't get to see that one, but yeah, it was just a matter of like where do I go first? What do I do first? Because yeah, I was at the first lobby. I think that's like the one that you first go into, where it's like uh, it's just like that giant room
With all
of
the booths and everything,
yeah.
right?
And there's like the second one. It's a bit like darker. It's like a darker room, but it's
Hmm.
still like pretty big. Um, yeah, I saw Rostran. I saw I saw Cynics. I took a picture with Cynics, and Ahmed
Yeah.
just like came over to where we were, and he was like, "Hey, can I get a picture too?" And I was like, "Ahmed." I was like, "Oh." I
He's so
was like,
cool.
first, yeah, and then I don't know if you know Dylan Chun at chat.
Mm, no, it
He's
doesn't ring any bell right now, but
okay. Well, he's like a really good figure drawing artist.
okay.
Definitely
This
check
is
him
what
out.
always happens with, like, do you know this guy or this girl? And you say the name, and you're like, no, I don't think so. Then you show a
Yeah,
picture of them. No, I don't think so. Then you show their work, and it's like, oh, this guy, yeah.
you kind of like put the name to the work or the face to the work, and like
Hmm.
because a lot of artists they don't show their face, so it's like hard to
Exactly,
tell
exactly.
who is who.
That's what I mean.
So yeah. What else did I see? I saw Vance Kovacs, Justin Sweet. I saw them like signing books for their Eclipse book. Um, this was like before my book was even made, so I didn't have like any work to show. So I was just kind of like walking around with nothing. Um, but if Lightbox did happen again, I'd definitely like bring my books along, like try to like hand
Sure
them out.
thing, bro.
But
You should totally do
um,
that.
yeah, there's just like so many. Sometimes I was like a bit too apprehensive to go up to certain artist booths because like I was like I don't know if they're gonna talk to me because But at the back of my mind, I understand that like sometimes the artists want people to come to them anyways.
But why was that?
It's
Why
like
did you feel that? Like, I'm not sure if talking to these guys or not. Why
I
did you feel
still
that?
felt like a small artist that I didn't like. I wasn't like worthy for some reason, but that's like that whole um how you shouldn't like pedestalize like big artists just because they're big, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the time I was like not really that huge at all. Like I was a really small artist at the time, so I didn't really like have any work. But
I feel like that's always kind of subjective, you know. Even big artists don't feel like big artists.
yeah, to them, but like on the outside looking in, it's like they're heroes to other people, even though they don't think so. I still don't even think so with my work, but I guess like people find it helpful, you know. Then
We need more evidence, more validation. You're great, bro. You know it. You know what? I remember seeing Esben Lash. He works at Riot Games. He's an illustrator, and he was there. I'm not sure if I got to talk to him because there was so many people always in line at his booth, and you know, all these artists from Riot Games, from Sony Pictures, from Marvel Studios, all together kind of selling their artworks, right? And he was one of them that I noticed that was super excited to listen to everybody who was coming to say hi. And I saw it in his face, in his body language, you know, like he was like kindly listening and kind of showing appreciation, like, oh, thank you so much, you know, like, yeah, that was so cool to see. I also got to meet Laurel D. Austin.
Oh yeah, she's great.
Dude, she was the one behind all those cinematics made with like illustrations, you know, from World of Warcraft, StarCraft. And I once saw a talk from her at ZBrush Summit or something like that. I think it was called, like, I don't know. It's an event, right? That's not like
yeah.
It's not only
ZBrush
like
Summit.
it's not like a contest or anything like that, right?
I think there are contests in the event, but like it's just an event.
Okay, so she gave a talk there. I saw it on YouTube, and then I was talking to her in person right there, and I'm like, you know, you're behind one of my favorite things in the world, right? And he's like, oh yeah, but I didn't do that alone. I mean, I contributed to it. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but anyway, it's just so cool, you know, to see you here. And yeah, and then I also got to talked to Ahmed and Cynics, for instance. It was really cool. Then I also met, oh man, what's his name? It's this young French guy that likes Blender a lot, and he's really passionate about space stuff. Oh man, the name doesn't come right now. But anyway, I met that guy. That guy as well.
Worked on?
He's worked on Tom Clancy's The Division, and I think he works at Riot as well. But Eflam, dude.
Eflam Mercier, yeah.
Eflam Mercier, yes. Oh my god.
Too.
It took a while, but yeah.
I was trying to think of his name also.
He looked like he was really excited about stuff in general, you know, like to talk about anything. He was down. And I also saw the guys from Focal Point School, Derek Zabrowski and Mikhail Kus. Dude,
I didn't see them.
It was so cool to talk to them. And yeah, man, in general, it was like a very chaotic, positively chaotic event. I also got to say hi to Ross Tran. He was always busy, always a lot of people. A lot of people around there.
He's got a lot of fangirls.
And then I got to say hi to Proco as well. Dude.
He was there?
Yeah. Yeah, he was there. He was there, and that's awesome.
Yeah, he's great.
He was like sharing I'm not sure if he was sharing his booth. I think he was just bringing people from outside to his booth, you know,
Oh, that's cool.
because I just sat down and talked to James Pack, like right in front of me as he was sketching. And I was like
awesome.
asking him questions, you know, like, like, you know, I was just looking at what he was painting. I'm like, dude, that's so cool. Like, I was trying to think about questions, you know. I'm like,
James,
oh,
right?
I got a good one. Yeah, James Pack. And I'm like, got a good one. What's the percentage of 3D and 2D that you think go into a painting like that? And he's like, oh, well, it depends, you know, because a painting could be 90% 3D and 10% sketching and all of that and overpainting, or it could be the other way around. You know, it really depends. It all goes down to the project itself, like what does it need at that time. And a lot more stuff, man. I don't know. I wish I could have seen John Park as well, because
I think I missed John, but I'm pretty sure he was there too.
yeah. Oh, I don't think I got to see him, but yeah. Then I was trying stuff like, you know, walking around and asking. For instance, there was the Sony animation booth around there as well. I think they were in this room that you said it was quite darker, like more, you know, different, quite different than the bigger one. And yeah, I basically just asked them like, hey, what does it take to work here? Like, what do you have to do? Because they were like, we're hiring. And I'm like, all right, it's my chance. So I went there and like, hey, can I show you my work? What do I have to do? How does this work? You know, who do I have to talk to? And they're like, okay, so you can just, you know, they handed me like a little, like a card or something, like a flyer. Like, hey, just go here, you know, you'll find all the information there. And I'm like, okay. so I can't talk to you, right? I can, okay. So yeah. Also the guys from Painter, man, this app, not Procreate, the other one, Infinite Painter. Yes. Mm-hmm. Those guys were there as well, and I got to try it. I don't think I've ever heard of that before. So then I saw Jama Jurabayev kind of making like a demo on that app.
Nice.
And Scott Robertson was sitting right behind me, dude.
Nice.
Like, no way. I didn't even know that. I just went there, sat down, and I think he came later because I didn't see him. So then all of a sudden, like, any questions? And he asks something, and he's right behind me. And everybody in the room turns to look. Like, it felt like they were looking at me, right? And I'm, like, afraid to turn around, you know, because it's, like, that awkward situation where you just turn around to look at someone behind you for no reason. So I waited until the talk was over. And then I'm like, damn, dude. It's Scott Roberts.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was pretty remarkable.
So Sparth was awesome.
Did you? Damn, that's so cool.
Yeah, he's there. I saw like his talk. He was doing like a ship demo real quick, but it was really hard to hear him because I don't think he had like a microphone. But there were just like lines of people just in a circle around him. I was like trying to like peek over. It was really hard to get a view. But then there was Craig, obviously.
Craig Mullins, bro.
Dude, I did not think they'd bring him there, but it was really cool to see him in person. I was like 2 feet away from him. Like 1 feet away from him.
Did he have like a talk, like a proper talk inside of like a big room or something? Or he was just
like
there
on the outside of the building, or like, you know,
that's
like
where I saw him.
Yeah,
that's where I saw him too.
He just had like a desk, and then like people just were around his desk. Tons of people.
Yeah,
just like
I remember, and I had this. I mean, I already told you guys in in another call we had, but I'm gonna say it here too. The thing with Craig Mullins and how I was like testing the new Procreate. There was nobody around, only me, the guys from Procreate, and their stand, and they were like, "Hey, would you like to try the new Procreate update?" You know, they were about to release the Procreate 5 update, and
Nice.
I just sit down, and they're like, "Oh, look, you can do this now, and this now, and now you can also adjust this, and this new panel we introduce here," you know, and I'm like, "Wow, this is so cool." And then all of a sudden, Craig Mullins comes around, like he was like looking for something. I'm not sure, like looking for a place for a direction or something. "Hey, do you know where this is?" And they're like, and they were like looking at me and like, "Wait, just a second, okay." Craig Mullins, oh, sir, it's such an honor. And then I turn around, and he's like looking down at me, and I'm like, "Oh, hey, Craig." And I'm like weirdly shaking his hand, and they're like, "Nice to meet you." and yeah, and then
so
the
cool.
guy comes back, and the guy was way more excited than me, you know, like, "Wow, that was Craig Mullins." And I'm like, "Yeah, what did this brush do?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, you know, not like I don't like Craig Mullins or anything like that. I was genuinely like shocked, you know, like I didn't even get to understand what was going on." And then I was like, "Oh shit, that was Craig Mullins," you know.
Yeah.
But then I saw him doing the demo and everything. So yeah, it's always cool to listen to that guy, man. Like they recently released like a it's not like a course, it's like a talk, right? On our station. I mean, it's probably only available because if you have the ArtStation Pro thing, right? Or is it free for
Yeah.
anybody?
It's only for
Okay.
premium members.
So
It was a good talk though.
yeah, pretty cool. And yeah, dude, it's hilarious, you know, if you think about it, how you kind of freeze when you see someone like a rock star from the industry, you know.
Yeah.
Like I don't know, I had this experience, for instance, when I first arrived in Croatia. Like that was my first event. I already said that. 2017 IFCC. I get there. Jama Jurabayev was already there the night before the event was going to start. And he was kind of wrapping up, you know, because I think he spent that week prior to the event there doing like a workshop or like something like that. I'm not sure. And I saw him kind of having dinner there with many other artists, and I'm like, "That's Jama." You know, I was with some friends, and some of them said like, "Yeah, but just don't go now. Don't say hi, or don't like, man, I'm gonna give him a hug." And they're like, "No, don't do that because he doesn't like that," or something strange like that, you know. And I'm like, "Oh, all right." I mean, he seemed way nicer in the videos, you know. But it's all right. And I contained myself, and yeah. And I never saw him again until a year later when I got this other opportunity to go to an event that's called Nonstop Animation or Nonstop Animación, which is in Barcelona. And that's where I met Jama again. After his talk, I patiently waited to just say hi. You know, I approached him. I said, "Jama, nice to meet you," you know, and nothing like what they've told me about him. You know, like it's funny
It's
how
just open.
yeah, just dude, nothing out of this world. You know, he's just like you and I. He's not like I'm not sure how to explain this. Like he's not like, "Don't talk to me unless you this and that," you know, or whatever. He's not
Yeah.
what I've been told he was. And that's how impressive this is, you know, when you hear a story from someone else about someone else without you experiencing that yourself. You tend to get like a distorted version of that reality, right? Until you basically experience that yourself, you check it out for yourself on your own. And that's why, you tend to pick everything with like a grain of salt when they tell you stuff like, oh, THU is like this and like that, it's really serious, you can't get to have fun, all the groups of people are like closed, they don't accept like newcomers. Or
Yeah.
I've heard stuff like that as well, like, hey, how is THU? Oh, THU is nothing like this event. It's way more different. Like here, if anybody comes here, we just welcome him, and we have some fun. And there's like, if you don't belong to a group prior to the event, it's like, yeah, it's stuff
very,
like that.
cliquey, something like that.
I don't know, really crazy stories. So. Is that true? Is that not true? What do I know? I've never been there. But yeah. It's just so strange, man. This whole thing. And it doesn't always, it doesn't only go down to art events or art celebrities, it's like any kind of famous guy, famous people. You tend to associate them with gods or something like that.
I think we tend to just like pedestalize a lot of our heroes when really like we have feelings, we have emotions, or they have, vice versa. And it's like, yeah, they're just normal people like you and I. And, maybe a lot of times like those kinds of big people like just want to have normal conversations with people. They don't want to be pedestalized,
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, because I don't know, oftentimes I think when you pedestalize like a big artist or whoever's large in the industry, it's like it almost makes them feel uncomfortable because you're not seeing them as human. You're just seeing them as like the person that does that great thing or something like that. But you
have to have that level of empathy to realize that, that you're behaving in a weird way. Like in a way you would not behave around someone.
Mm.
So, you're just not being yourself at that point.
Yeah. It just gets kind of like icky. You know what I mean?
Everybody can feel that.
I want to touch you.
Yeah. Everybody can feel that, and they see it,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that it's awkward, to do stuff like that. I would probably change some stuff I've done. I never did anything crazy, but I was truly like overexcited and I could not help it. A lot of times, because most of these times, these opportunities you think you have, and they're gonna slip away if you don't do it right there at that moment. If you don't go to them and say hi at that very specific moment, you think you're going to lose the opportunity to ever talk to them again. And it's that kind of that FOMO sensation, like the fear of missing out on something that pushes you to be weird and awkward. And if you just take a step back and relax and act like a normal person, that's something, that's what I did a lot of times as well. Like, I was like, Adrian, behave. All right. It all goes like naturally. It doesn't have to be weird. It doesn't have to be, just be yourself. Just say whatever you have to say. The first time I met Anthony Jones, I remember we were just walking, we were heading somewhere to have dinner, like with a big group from that event in Barcelona. And I went to they were like leading the entire thing, and I went straight to them and I just walked next to them and I said, I never thought I was gonna walk next to you in Barcelona, Anthony Jones. This is surreal, man. And he's like, cheers, man, what's up? And yeah, nothing crazy, dude. It doesn't have to be I feel like that's most of the time that's more something of a younger artist, a younger person, because
Yeah.
you tend to be that much excited about, oh my god, it's him, it's her, I'm next to them. What do I say? What do I do? And
I,
just be yourself. Just
yeah.
don't do anything. Just be yourself. What do you want to ask them? They're just human beings like you and I. Just say whatever you have to say.
I used to be that way. Like when I was a lot younger, I was going to the brainstorm school
Hmm.
in Burbank, and like I was talking to James Pate because he was reviewing my portfolio. I'm like, James Pate is reviewing my portfolio, and then like John Park walks over, and I'm like, John Park. He's
And
just like,
whatever they say, like,
yeah,
your portfolio sucks, and you're like, thanks.
it's like punish my work
feeling.
harder.
I know the feeling. Yeah.
But now I'm just like, hey, you're so and so. Like, your work's pretty cool. Just like that casual tone,
Hmm.
and it's like you don't have to be overexcited or like overjoyed. I mean, you can be a little bit on the inside, but like try not to like show it too much because that's just gonna weird the person out. The same thing like DMing artists on Instagram who are like really big. Like, I'll DM like artists who have huge followings all the time, just like, hey, what's up? Like, you want to talk sometime? It's as simple as that. But I've seen some messages from like the fans of those big artists, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're this and this and this. How do
Yeah.
you do that? Like I'm not worthy in your presence." And it's like, dude, and like,
Like, sorry for being so bad.
yeah,
I'm not worthy of your time. Dude, do you know how awkward that makes them feel?
yeah,
Imagine you're just walking down the street, and someone comes at you and says, "Oh my god, you're dumb. Lay. Oh my god."
I mean, I had that happen to me like once, but
What did
it
you
was
do?
like, oh, hey, it's nice to meet you. It's like, I don't know who you are, but it's like, yeah, I was dual construct at that time, like during that Lightbox event. But yeah, one person was like,
just like when I met you.
yeah,
Hey, are you
That was-
dual construct? Adrian?
you're Adrian. Yeah, that was great. Like, I'm glad I got to meet you, dude.
Yeah, man, that was really awesome. Like, I still remember that moment and how strange it was. Like, I can't believe I'm meeting this guy in real life here.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. But coming back to the thing about behaving in that way around someone, like, there's not a guidebook about how you should be, how you should behave, what you should do and say. It's basically just be yourself. If you're that weird, just be that weird, I was just trying to look at the whole situation from the other perspective, like from the perspective of this big artist that I'm meeting right now. Just put yourself in their shoes and try to understand what they feel like when you just go to them and ask those questions and say those things and behave in that way,
Act erratically.
They're going to feel like, okay, I'm just going to endure this as much as I can until this weirdo goes away, and then I can attend to the normal people, See, another big guy that I met there was Ian McCaig, and I could not believe that he was reviewing my work. He is such a chill dude. Just like,
I love the way how he talks.
yes,
It's like very eloquent in his wording.
And he's like an actor. He could do voiceovers of anything and make it sound super dope and super interesting. And I remember I was showing him. Before I get into this story, I just want to say that another thing that sometimes holds me back from going to talk to someone is this. It's probably too much empathy. Like, okay, if I was him, I would be really tired, really hungry. I would like to go away from here for a while, to go have a break or something. Because he's been talking to this guy for 15 minutes. And that other girl right there for other 10 minutes. And now there's these other two guys waiting to talk to him, And I'm like, feeling bad for that, for taking my chance to shake his hand and say hi and introduce myself and show him my work. That's what killed a lot of connections, I think. For just, nah, not now. They seem busy. No, not now. They seem tired. A lot of times I was with some other people and they were like, look, there's that artist you wanted to see. Go talk to him. And I'm like, yeah, but I think they're just leaving now. So I don't want to go there and kind of hold him for any longer. And they're like, dude, go. I mean, come on, dude. They just left. And I'm like, yeah, I told you they were leaving. So I'm constantly,
so many times,
constantly convincing myself that I did the right thing, When in reality, all it took was to go there, say hi, and maybe we can talk later. But at least they already know you,
Yeah.
That's the first thing. So
Exactly.
when this is something similar to what happened to me when I saw Ian McKay. I think it was after a talk or something. He was just in this hallway where they were hosting all those demos, and just saw him there. He just talked to a few people, and it was like close to lunchtime. So I'm like, he's gonna kill me for this, but anyway. Hey, Ian. And he's like, oh, hi, nice to meet you. And then we started talking, and I'm like, can I just show you my work real quick? I'm not gonna take longer than 5 minutes, all right? And he's like, no problem, we have time. And I'm like, okay. So I just showed him my work. He shuffled through all the pages, and he's like, this is gorgeous, this is amazing. Like, the only thing I see missing here is some story. And I'm like,
yeah, he's always about
yes,
story.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I want.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do that, And honestly, he didn't tell me anything that I didn't know already. In the sense of, like, I was so interested in learning more about storytelling and how to put together stories, and of course watching his videos as well. I remember some videos with mermaids he made, a whole story about pencil drawings of mermaids that he created and narrated as he was creating them on YouTube.
Oh, that's cool.
It was super awesome. And he didn't say anything that I didn't know before, in the sense of, for instance, you have this world, okay, but you don't have a story. Now, choose what's the size of the window that you want me to look through into your world, right?
Oh, that's cool.
This window is the story, right? Which is basically, if it's a nice metaphor, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, I needed to hear that, especially from you, right? So, yeah, it was so awesome, dude. And then he handed me his email, and I'm like, this can't get any better. This is insane. Thank you so much. And nothing bad happened. See, nobody got pissed. Nobody. I feel like you have to understand the situation sometimes, because that fear of, I'm going to annoy them if I go there right now, if you don't take that step, that risk, because if you want to express yourself sometimes, if you want to get something, you have to risk offending someone sometimes, but that fear is always there, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's the way I see it, at least. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think, like, definitely taking that step. I mean, there are some artists who will be kind of mean. Like, I don't want to talk to you right now. Like, I've seen some artists, like, have that sort of attitude. Like,
I've
maybe
talked
they've
to
been,
some.
like, stressed out. Yeah.
I've talked to some of them who were kind of brief,
Mhm.
you know, like really
Yeah.
really short in terms of
Like Kurt. Yeah.
yeah, like
Um,
but again, what do you know about their situation? You know, maybe they were
yeah.
into something or going through something at that very moment,
Yeah.
but
But
in
I mean,
general,
at least you
they
get a chance to say hi.
yeah,
It's better
exactly.
than not saying anything at all. Um,
And this is another thing. If they have to go somewhere, if they're in a rush or something, they're gonna tell you, you know, like, "Hey, nice to meet you," and you're like, "Can you take a look at my portfolio?" And they're gonna be like, why don't you meet me later? Because right now I'm gonna grab some lunch, and you know, I gotta go." They just let you know,
mhm.
you know, they tell you it's nothing crazy to say no, not right now, but later, you know, in a nice way,
Yeah.
and that's fine, you know. You're not gonna be pissed. Be,
Never,
yeah,
never look at your portfolio. So I never
yeah.
want to see you again.
But it truly felt so awesome to run into completely random, unexpected people. Like, for instance, I told you guys I met Michael Vicente, and this guy is a 3D modeler for Blizzard. He has
Mhm.
worked on, for instance, some of the models from Heroes of the Storm, from the maps, the buildings, and stuff. And he was interviewed at Blender Guru, you know, in one of those podcast interviews he made recently.
Yeah.
And I watched it, and then I saw him there, and I recognized him. I'm like, "Are you? Oh man, you look so familiar. What's your name?" And he's like, "Michael." "And your last name?" "Vicente." "Dude, you're okay. I know where I know you from." And yeah, and then we started talking. He was just walking around talking to people. Um, and I showed him my portfolio as well, and he, again, sweet words, right? Like exactly what you want to hear from someone. And he was like, "Dude, I can already see a game out of this or something. I don't know. This is a beautiful idea. You should keep moving forward with this. You know, I want to see more of that." And I could tell you so many stories like that, but that was awesome, man. To get your work out there and to receive that awesome feedback, it was just
Mhm.
so cool, you know,
Yeah. I
especially when
think,
you doubt about something or
yeah, getting feedback from someone who's like a lot more experienced than you is really useful. Um, I feel like that's more useful than getting feedback from like, just random people. Like people and because like those kinds of artists, like they can see your mistakes like right away
yeah.
and like help you pinpoint things that no one else can see really. So asking for that advice is really valuable. um, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really really important to expose yourself in that way, you know.
Mhm.
So you know, this is something I said for so long, all the time, ever since I started going to art events. Like, guys, if you ever have the money, this is the best investment you can do. You know, invest in these
Mhm.
art events. Go out there. You get to travel, to see new places, to meet more new people, and also people that you already know, but only from the internet. You know, and you get to meet your art heroes. I'm sure you follow someone on YouTube, on Instagram, somewhere. Like, oh, I'm in love with the work of this guy. Well, imagine
Yeah.
meeting that guy in person. You know, and getting him to talk with you about your work. And that's great.
It's
Yeah.
priceless. Yeah.
Yes, it makes such good memories.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It was funny. Like before I went to Lightbox, I was in the car, like on the way out, and I saw one of my friends come out of his apartment, and I'm like, dude, are you going to Lightbox? He's like, what? It's today? He's like, yeah, dude, come on, get in the car. He's like, wait, I have to go to class. I'm like, screw class, just get in the car. Just come with us. And he's like, no, no. And he just like walked away. I'm like,
Oh man.
And then like I talked to him like a couple days later. It's like, I should have went with you guys. Should have just hopped in the car.
Dude, I
Like,
swear,
dude, you missed out.
I thought it was gonna be one of
Yeah.
those stories where he's like, "Yeah, screw class, I'm going with you guys," and then having an awesome adventure. Oh,
That would have been awesome though. But he's like, this was like the one time that I missed it before, quarantine happened and everything.
yeah.
So I'm like, you missed it, man.
But the next one was
Yeah.
pretty cool as well.
The online.
Even though it was online.
Yeah,
But it's
I don't really get to stay that long, but I saw just like the virtual booths. It was okay. It's nothing like it was like 2 years ago or last year, right? Or 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
I'm kind of lost as well. I'm not used to 2021 yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it was cool because you were able to switch from one talk to another with a bunch of clicks, instead of physically having to walk away, to walk out of the room and get in, because that's another weird factor, that you didn't count on. Like,
Mhm.
everybody's gonna look at me when I cross that door in the middle of the talk, because I really want to see this talk, but
Yeah.
it's like it's already started, and that's another one of these but it doesn't matter. Don't make noises, don't try to be as quiet as you can, and just find a place. If you can, just sit on the floor, but if you're really interested in that talk, just go do it. I've done that, and best decision ever, perhaps. I like those talks that you didn't count on, and somehow you land there, and it's like, I wasn't sure of coming to see this talk, but I'm glad I did.
Yeah.
I learned something
Yeah.
I never expected to learn.
Yeah. I was at the Chris Alsman talk. I don't know if you know him, but he worked on a lot of Star Wars films, things like that. Does a lot of visual development. Yeah, his talk was great. He talked about like storytelling in images and like how to compose different shots, and like that's what I need, because a lot of Star Wars artists, they deal with a lot of that storytelling. You see in the art of books, like all those keyframes and stuff. It's pretty cool. But yeah, it's a pretty cool experience. It was like really tightly packed in a room, like almost like a can of sardines. But the talk was really cool. That wasn't a talk that I wasn't expecting to go into, actually. It was I just saw it on the schedule. I'm like, let's check this out, and it was like worth it. Sometimes you don't know like these certain artists, but then you go to hear what they say, and they're like, that was really valuable. Like, I'm glad I went.
And a lot of times you're really influenced by the title of the talk. You see the schedule, and maybe you don't know the artist because of the name that you see there, but then the title of the talk kind of convinces you of something, right?
Yeah.
That can go either right or wrong, because it's like, oh, it's not what I expected, like techniques for becoming this and this and that in the industry. You're like, oh, that's exactly what I need, and maybe in the end it turns out it's not what you expected. But I like it when it does turn out into something you did not expect in the good way, Like, oh, this was awesome, dude. This is exactly what I needed. That's what I call destiny, like you were meant to be there and make that happy accident happen.
Yeah. For sure.
I remember being in line for Dan Lovisi's talk. It was a small room.
I never got to see you.
And he was only there for one day, I think. It was a Saturday, I would say. And I was in line, and of course seats were limited because it was a small room, and I really wanted to be there. So somehow I got in, right?
Nice.
You get to a point where they say, no more people. And I'm like, no, I really need to go inside. I want to see it, you know. And somehow, I don't know, someone from the inside, this is like the law of attraction, right? Someone inside just came out, and the lady at the entrance was like, okay, you go in, you know. And I go in, and it's like there's no seats anywhere. I'm like, I'm gonna sit on the floor. And someone, oh, actually, it was his girlfriend, Dan's girlfriend.
really?
Yeah, she saw me there standing, and she did like this, like, and there was a seat in the front row, and I just, dude, it was,
Lucky, dude.
yeah, dude, it was awesome. But you know what? I was standing there because I thought that was wrong. Like, I was asking the lady, like, wait, what talk is this? Because I didn't recognize Dan, you know. According to the interviews and the ArtStation videos that I saw on YouTube, he had a different hair. He was not wearing his glasses, so from a distance, it looked quite different to me, you know. And I was confused. I'm like, what talk is this? And she's like, Dan Lovisi. And I'm like, you sure? And then she's like, yeah. It says Dan Lovisi, right? And I'm like, all right. And then as I approached it, I'm like, oh my God, I feel so stupid. But that was so cool, man. This whole event is full of anecdotes like that. But it was overall like a really awesome experience. I recommend everyone to go there if they ever make it again, like physical, you know, and you're able to go. Because it was
like, hands
really
down,
it was amazing.
One of the best. Just like all the community of artists just coming together into one.
And you know what? I'm gonna ask you, like, would you prefer Lightbox to be like a week long, or just to stay as it is?
I think it's good as it is. I felt when I went, I saw like everything in a day. So after the Lightbox event, I actually like joined a group of people, and we walked down to like a bar, like a restaurant thing after hours. So that was cool. Like do like an after talk with other artists, you know.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what most people did. They just like after the event was over, they went to go get drinks or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't drink, but they're just like talking about like industry stuff and like, you know, just getting more connections. Like I met a lot of new people, connected on Instagram and stuff. So it's cool. Mostly like brainstorm people that I was talking to, and yeah,
a lot of these connections also happen outside of the event, I gotta say. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because it's hard to like talk, or I mean, you can like connect with people, but people are just they got to go to this talk, or like they got to go to this conference, so it's hard to like sit down and talk to people unless, I mean, yeah, you just like pull them aside if you can talk to them and have maybe like a 2-minute chat, exchange Instagram handles, whatever.
Yeah.
Just like head out.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, really cool.
The amount of unexpected connections you can make, like waiting in line for something, you know.
Yeah.
Like the people next to you talking about their lives, getting to know more about each other, and maybe even turn out to be like you're actually going to the same place, or oh, that's the same talk I want to go to, you know, what do you know about this? And you never know, you know, where that can lead you in the future. So yeah, as always, be kind. It's free and it's really powerful, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. I met a few people that were following me at the time. I don't know if you know. Do you know Oki? Any chance?
No.
Oki Honda? No. Okay.
No.
there were like some several people that I saw from SCAD that were coming here. That's a school in Georgia. So like a couple people from.
I always feel bad when I don't know
like,
someone.
That's okay.
It's like,
I don't know a lot of people either.
What? But you don't know that guy or that girl? Oh my God, dude, it's super famous. Come on. And I'm like, Sorry, dude. I just don't know.
Yeah, names are hard to remember.
Yeah. Again,
But
maybe if you show me an artwork, I'm like, oh, okay, of course I do. In fact, I have this on my favorites or some crazy shit like that. Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, it's cool just seeing people from all over the country, just and the world too, because there's a lot of international people as well. Um, yeah, it's like the Disneyland of art events.
Yeah,
It's like everyone coming together.
absolutely.
So I don't know. One day maybe I'll have a booth. We'll have booths. Lightshare booth.
Oh, man. Can you imagine?
Just us
Come
two.
sign up.
Yeah.
That could
That'd
be
be awesome,
really cool.
honestly.
Yeah, it would be really cool.
I know a table can cost up to like $1,000 if you're lucky.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
pretty
Maybe,
expensive.
yeah. But I mean, if you think about what you can get from it, it's probably worth the
Mhm.
price.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But I just,
Do you-
yeah. What is it?
Do you know of like any other art events? Like, have you been here in? Well, you said you only been in LA like that one
Mhm.
time, but
Oh,
there's also
well,
like,
I've been to another one which was not only about art, it was more like it's the GDC, Game Developers Conference. And that's in San
that's in
Francisco.
San Fran. Yeah.
Hmm.
I haven't been there.
Yeah, I've been there.
I haven't.
Okay. I was
There's
there
a
4 years ago. Actually, yeah,
Oh, 4 years.
exactly 4 years ago, February 2017.
nice.
Yeah, it was a cool time. I remember I had no idea about anything about San Francisco. I
Mhm.
prior to my trip there, kind of asked my Facebook contacts like publicly, like, "Hey guys, I'm going to San Francisco. Anything I need to know?" And I remember someone said something like, "Whatever you do, don't go to," and they named some place or some like neighborhood or something, which was like a problematic neighborhood, like don't go there. That's dangerous.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, that's good to know. And then I realized I was sleeping there.
Dang.
And fun story, I didn't see anything crazy. Like it was just poor people and maybe also some mentally ill people, who were making a lot of
Yeah.
noise during the night. But the reason I went there was because San Francisco is extremely expensive.
Yeah.
And that was the cheapest
really
place. The cheapest place. Good thing we always had donuts for breakfast.
Oh, nice. Yeah. Usually the cheaper places are gonna have more sketchy areas.
I would see homeless people coming into the building to grab
Oh,
some
really?
donuts as well. Yeah, like they had like a common area, right, with like the kitchen.
Mhm.
And we were talking to some other. There was a Spanish couple as well, and I'm like, "Oh, nice to see you here, guys! Like so far away from the country, What are you doing here?" And we were talking, and then some stranger, from the outside, just comes in. "Are there any donuts left?" And they just grab one, and we're like, "Are they staying here?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Can they do that?" And I'm like. Who's gonna tell him not to?
Yeah.
But
Free
yeah,
donuts.
that was a pretty interesting story as well. And that event was really awesome as well, full of tech stuff, all around
Yeah,
you, like
game
VR.
devs.
Yes. Oh my god. I remember I tried. It was like a tablet, like a Cintiq, but it was from. I think it was from Microsoft. I'm not sure. It was like a computer, but it was like only the screen attached to like an arm, like a boom arm.
Mhm.
And it was like pretty big, like a 27-inch screen or a 32, I'm not sure. I was like, wow, this is
Wow.
pretty cool, but it was super expensive. I think it was, I don't know, like $3,000 or more. I'm not sure.
Oh, jeez.
I even forgot the brand, but it's the perfect time to try stuff like that and say,
Yeah.
this is so cool. I'm never going to buy this.
Yeah, I don't think I've bought like anything at any industry event just because it's so expensive, so out of my budget. But they have like some really cool stuff. Like, they'll have like art books. I saw it at the Lightbox. They just had a period where they just put like free art books from like
Yes, they were
Uncharted.
handing them for free.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I want to get one, but then it all like
Dude,
just ran out.
they
Everyone
were
got to it
gone,
first.
just
Yeah.
like the RTX series from the 30 series, from NVIDIA.
Yeah.
Those ones flew away so fast. I didn't get to
Yeah.
get any, I think. Oh, fun story. Again, I did get to get some books from someone who was waiting in line for a talk. And I think they heard me speaking to someone else about that. Like, hey, did you see the books? Yeah, man, there's no one left. No books left anymore. And I was like, oh, man, I wanted to get some. And some dude come to me and says, hey, do you want any of these? And just opens like the bag, and he had like a lot of them, and I'm like,
Dang.
I don't know.
Take 'em all.
do you want to give me any? And he's like, yeah, just choose whichever you want. And yeah, that was
Nice.
pretty that was pretty interesting. Um,
That's cool.
But yeah, man, these events are expensive. The trick is that, at least in my case, like I kind of form like a big picture, like a general picture of the entire trip based on the price of that event, right? So if it's like $150, oh, that's pretty cheap. Let's go, right? But you don't count on the expenses that surrounds that entire thing, like the flight, the place where you're staying, the food, the transport. Because that's another story as well,
Yeah.
to get from, to get to the place you're sleeping at from the airport. That's going to cost you money, especially if it's LA, because it's not close. It's pretty far away. And oh boy,
I can
lots of
imagine, like-
San Andreas memories just popped in my head in that airport.
All those prices add up, when you're traveling cross country or across the world.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
it's worth it. Definitely, like if you're like huge fan of these events, or like you want to get something out of it, it's probably worth your money.
Oh, plus I don't remember what I did with my internet connection, because I didn't have any. I called my company before leaving my country, and I said, hey, I'm going to the United States. I'm going to have any of this there. And I think they said something like, no, that's only for Europe. And I'm like, oh, shit. Okay, I'll see, And
what?
I
What
landed. I landed in LA, and I had no internet connection, right? Because my company didn't cover that so far.
Dang.
So I was like trying to search for Wi-Fi, But I see, that's something I like as well, when those kind of instincts kick in. Like, you now have to orient yourself, based on what you see. You can't connect to a Google Maps or anything like that to guide you. So,
Oh man,
old school
my
stuff.
worst fear. I'm
To
not
get
a
lost.
really direction-oriented person, so yeah, I'd probably get lost pretty easily. I have to ask like 20 different people where I'm at.
It depends. It depends.
Yeah.
If you're feeling okay, you're well rested, and you have some money, I guess you're not so afraid. Than if you're just super tired, you haven't slept in like 20 hours, from last night. The flight was also, because you see, most of it. Why do you think traveling is so exhausting?
Yeah.
I never thought about that. You really walk a lot.
Yeah.
you know, and your brain is burning so much energy by trying
On
to think
social
about
media,
everything, like where to go now, like,
yeah.
oh my god, we're gonna miss this flight. No, okay, we're gonna get there in line, and then obstacle, and then oh shit,
Yeah.
and then more energy and more stress.
That's the thing people don't tell you about traveling. Like you see all the highlights on social media that
Mhm.
looks so fun, it looks so enjoyable, but you don't see like that craziness of
Yeah,
like getting on the flight, trying
yeah.
to get your hotel room and all this stuff. It's like it's a hassle. And like so I haven't traveled too often, but I would still like to travel like, when I can. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff you have to go through first before you get the experience.
I remember
And
sorry.
oh, I was gonna just say like, yeah, sometimes after all that work, your experience might turn out bad too
Yeah.
if you're not careful.
hmm
But yeah.
Yeah, I just remembered that in Croatia I paid like 11 euros for a SIM card for my phone with unlimited
Hmm.
internet connection, unlimited gigabytes or whatever that is. And
Yeah.
and I was like, wow, that's crazy, dude. That's crazy cheap. Then I remember when I was in San Francisco, when I went there, I got like 2 gigs for not sure if 7 days or 3 days. Anyway, it was like $25 or $30, which, I'm like, that's different, but it's okay. I'll take it, because I really need it. But then when I landed in LA for Lightbox, I was at the airport trying to get like a SIM card or something, and I'm like, it was nighttime already. It was getting dark, and I'm like, I don't think this is the best moment to, wander across the city searching for like the best
yeah.
place to buy a decent SIM card at a reasonable price, because at the airport they were asking me for like $60.
Wow.
So I'm like, that's
That's a
60
little
bucks.
expensive.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, do you know what I can buy with $60? I think I can eat with that money for the entire trip. And yeah, I was like hesitant to get any of that, and that's why I only used the Wi-Fi. I tried my best to get the Wi-Fi from the airport and then from the house, and yeah, that was pretty okay. Fortunately, I ran into some really nice Uber drivers, so yeah, they were quite excited, to just talk about anything. Like, hey, where do you come from? Spain, dude. Spain is so cool. Like, do you know Spanish? And I'm like, well, yeah. Dude, that's so cool.
Oh, duh.
That's so awesome, dude. My wife was studying Spanish when, and they start talking about their story. And that was so cool. Some of them even were like pointing, like a tourist tour kind of thing, like a guided tour. Like, you may want to be careful with your camera right now because we're going to pass right beside the skyscrapers and everything. So you might want to take some shots. I'm like, oh, thank you. And
That's so cool.
Yeah, dude. They were
They're
really
like
being like a
hospitable.
guide. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was so fun. Really, really cool. And one day, I really want to go back. I want to go back there and have like a decent trip around the whole LA area, like especially the beach.
Dude, if you want to come again, you're more than welcome to like come to my town, and I could like drive you around. And
Oh
stuff.
man, that would be awesome.
Yeah. If you can just get like a hotel, like I'll come pick you up and like we can, drive.
Yeah, man, that would be amazing indeed.
That'd be cool. Yeah.
Actually, I saw some really, really cheap places that were awesome, like awesome apartments. The only problem was that they were for more than 4 people, for instance, and I was traveling alone. So, yeah. But they were extremely, wow, man, that was impressive. Like, I couldn't believe it. And I'm like, dude, I was telling my friends, like, don't you guys want to go there? And I was thinking, like, am I gonna really mix these two worlds? Because they don't want to know anything about the art event, so I will most likely have to split the trip, and then meet them right after the event. But then I'll also have to go with people that I meet from the event, and it's gonna be tricky. So I prefer to do it alone.
Yeah.
But when I'll go just strictly for the, for fun, right? That's when I want to really get one of those cool places and just drive around and see everything. It's like, dude, I've been playing a lot of GTA. a lot of GTA, and
LA's not far off from that.
all the places where like I was seeing everything, like the Hollywood sign, the airport, the downtown area. It was insane. Like so surreal to see everything in reality.
Yeah. If you get a place down here and like further down SoCal, I can show you that part of California too. But
that's cool. I
LA's
can tell
only
by
like an hour away.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say I can tell by your stories that it's a really cool place.
Yeah, it's really clean. I would say. Yeah, it's like pretty.
Like really
utopic.
Peaceful.
Yeah.
Nature around you, parks, everything. That's so cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it's this is life was made for traveling. I think it was made for us to explore the world. And
definitely take a chance to travel solo if you can at least once. Like I think it's better than traveling in a group. Like traveling solo, you can like do things at your own time, your own leisure. You don't have to be rushed by like a party.
I had this conversation with my friends about traveling solo or traveling in group. It's two different worlds. There's things I like of both of these possibilities, these options. Because if you're traveling alone, you have no schedule. You can do whatever you do whenever you want to. When you're with someone else, you have to adapt a little bit and kind of negotiate, and find common ground.
Come on, let's go.
Yeah,
let's go to this place.
No,
like,
I don't want to go. I don't want to go there, And it's like, please, it's my favorite place. All right, and then they're gonna ask you for a favor in return. Like now you have to come with me to that place.
Yeah. Maybe we can talk a little bit briefly about this sort of thing.
The fun part of that is the memories that you share with the group later. Like, do you guys remember when we went through that and this happened and he did this and he said that and then that guy and it's wonderful. But I find this solo trip experience also really exciting. It's just different. Many people find it dangerous and scary.
Yeah.
It probably is. It can be dangerous, because if you're alone by yourself, if something happens to you, what are you going to do?
Just make sure you have a phone and like you tell your folks back home where you are at, where you're going to be at.
Yeah.
So they know where to rescue you.
That's what they do when you book the flight ticket, They ask you for like a number. Give me a number and the name of someone to tell them in case something happens to you. So
I always make sure to go to like a safe destination in that area, so you don't get trafficked or something.
That
would be good.
I was watching yesterday. I was watching a tiny documentary about like a journalist that got kidnapped, or he was like being held hostage by pirates in Somalia, I think, in Africa. He was from the US, I think, and he's been held captive for like 2 years, almost 3 years, I think. And I was like, holy...
Is he free now?
Yeah. But you know how I got there? you know this how YouTube works, right? Like you click something and then recommended. So there was a video that was recommended to me about a couple that was like an old couple that were being held captive. This is one of those videos from like 10 years ago, right? So they were basically telling to the camera that they say they're going to kill us if you don't do anything. I think they were from Britain. I'm not sure. But yeah, and that's some scary stuff, you know? Like you go on a trip and something like that happens to you. Imagine if you're alone and nobody knows that. I'm not saying that they're going to kidnap you or anything like that, but just imagine someone steals your pocket, you know, with everything inside.
Your wallet. It's all gone.
Oh, sorry. Wallet. Yeah. Man, my God. I'm sorry.
How's your social security in there and everything?
Yeah, I meant to say someone steals your wallet from your pocket. That's why I said the pocket thing. But yeah, somebody steals your wallet and you're like, dude, now what?
You're like,
your passport.
You're stranded.
Yeah.
That's a scary thing.
Or your backpack, or I don't know. I'm super careful when I'm traveling out there. You know, you tend to get comfortable when you're like in peaceful areas and places that you know it's quite safe. But
there's always pickpocketers around.
Even there, yeah, exactly.
Waiting.
You never know, so you better be careful. But definitely don't be like all the time, like, you know, like thinking
that's why
something.
I put things like in the front, so people can't grab things from behind.
I like this. This is like a tutorial for safe traveling.
Or traveling if you go to art events or just anywhere in general.
I like this. Yeah, definitely.
I mean, this is all like it's like a travel podcast anyway. Like talking about where we're going to and stuff. But
yeah. So I don't know why, but for some reason, this made me think about, you know, traveling comfortably, like paying for expensive stuff, commodities, or going like super low cost, because that's what I did in the beginning. In fact, that's what I always did. I never went for the fancy apartments or anything like that. In fact, I did book like a really cool place that was costing me like 4 times more. And then I changed my mind and I said, you know what? It was like this switch to adventure mode, you know? So it was worth it. It was all worth it. You have no idea how many people you meet this way. Because by choosing the comfortable place, you kind of isolate yourself from pretty much everything, from any type of connection that will help you grow, right? Yeah. How am I going to grow if I spend less money? I don't understand, you know? Well, you never know, man. You might meet someone, you know, like, it's just interesting to me to talk to other people and learn from their stories. In fact, there's nothing more motivating out there than hearing somebody else's story. Personal story, like small scale stories. It's not like saving the universe type of stories, you know. It's just something that you feel identified with as well, something you can also relate to that happened to a stranger. So I don't know. It's kind of interesting how this works, you know.
Yeah. I traveled solo like 3 years ago to Florida. I don't know if I said that story, but
I don't think so.
I was meeting, you know, Mark Lingvall at all?
That does sound ring a bell.
Yeah, he's like an artist friend, but I went to go visit him like by myself to meet an artist that I knew for a long time on Instagram for the first time ever. That was like really cool. Like sometimes you have pen pals on Instagram who are artists as well, and like you never expect to meet them in person, like you and I, and like just other artists. And like I think a lot of times people have this fear that they meet like this person online. I mean, obviously like know who you're meeting and like talk to this person first, you know what I mean? But like um, yeah, like meeting someone who's like an artist as well online is like really cool, and you share a lot of the same passions and similarities as that person, and like to meet them face to face is like such a cool experience. And like you hang out and you like grow even more of a stronger connection to them. Like after the end of the trip, you're like, dang, I want to do this again.
Right.
So yeah,
That's the feeling you end up with. Like, I should have done this earlier, or I want to
yeah.
do this again, you know?
Like there's a lot of artists who I've talked to that I now like want to meet in person, just like fly to, like you guys even someday. Like
Yeah.
we'll all like come together as a group, you, me, and Andre. Just
That will be such a day, man.
have a fireside chat or something.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That would be
That'd be awesome.
amazing. So, how did you go to Florida?
How did I go?
Yeah. Did you drive?
Oh no, I flew like a one-way round trip. It's like a 6-hour trip, and I landed there just to hang out with Mark, and like he took me to like Disney World and Universal Studios and
Oh,
everything. And
okay.
like,
I think I saw some
yeah,
pictures on your Instagram. So, he's the guy from the
yeah,
pictures. Okay.
yeah. That's
Got
it.
it. Nice.
So yeah, he does concept stuff too.
Mhm.
Like he was trying to get Aaron Sims Creative and like trying to work for them. I think he's like trying to do stuff for Marvel. He was doing stuff for like a Marvel entrance test or something like that. But yeah, it's just like the people you meet online is, they can be like your best friends for life.
Yeah.
It's great.
Did you get to see any alligators over there?
Oh yeah, I saw plenty.
Yeah?
Crocodiles. Like
Man.
this is very like tropical region.
Yeah,
But
but that's so
it was so
strange
cool.
to I don't know. It's so weird because, for instance, over here you only get to see those animals in like zoos and
Oh
you
really?
know, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's like so weird to see them on the street. Like, for instance, when I was
Yeah.
in San Francisco, it was so weird to see raccoons.
Oh really?
Yeah, because you never get to see those animals around here. So it was so strange. Like when you watch the movies and you see people, the characters from the films reacting, because most of them are based in the United States, right? So there's raccoons kind of doing stuff in the garbage, and they're like, "Hey, get out of here," and you're like, "Oh wow, there's like we have rats here," or like,
I have raccoons in my backyard sometimes.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
So
I said rats, but it could be literally anything else, like cats or
yeah.
whatever. But raccoons,
Elephants.
that's something you don't get to see here. Oh man, can you imagine?
I mean that's like every day in Asia,
The damn
like,
elephants again. Yeah, right. Same. The thing in India, I think there's like monkeys around. Again, the same feeling. This animal
it's
you,
just like an
you only
everyday
see.
thing. Yeah.
You only see in videos, but now it's like, and they're so used to it. So same
when
thing.
I was in Hawaii, there's like chickens running around on the street. It's like hens and stuff. Like every neighborhood you go to, there's like chickens. But yeah.
That's quite interesting. I didn't know that. Like I was expecting some other exotic animal, like I don't know, like iguanas or some lizards or something.
I mean, there could be, but yeah, chickens.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah.
This
Anything
was-
else to say?
This was a cool one, dude. I didn't expect to talk about so many things about traveling and stuff. But it was really cool to share some of my experiences and to hear some of yours as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I think we're going to wrap it up here.
Cool. Hope
So-
you guys enjoyed some travel tips, and as well as talking to artists that are a lot bigger.
Just to sum it up,
following.
be yourselves.
Yeah.
don't overthink it. Just take your chance and
Don't
trust
be
your
afraid
instinct. Trust your gut. Just go for it. And if you ever have the money and the opportunity to go, just go to one of these
Go for
events. It's really
Yeah.
cool.
Definitely.
So, yeah, this being said, take care of yourselves, enjoy your time, and we hope to see you in the next episode. See you guys. Bye-bye.
See you.